talking to Meghann Fahy, who plays Sutton on The Bold Type.
You slept with Ava? You can't just drop a bomb like that and then go radio silent. I need... Rude.
The show is in its final season, sadly. We're coming to the end. The first thing I want to know is, what has this road been like? Because, I mean, I'm sad to see it going, but I'm so excited to have it here with me this summer.
It's crazy. I mean, we're so lucky that we got to do 5 seasons, and we were so lucky to know going into the final season that it was going to be the last one. I feel like that in and of itself is a rare experience on a show. So it kind of gave us a unique opportunity to sort of like leave the characters in a place that we hopefully all feel really good about, instead of just kind of like the normal thing, which usually happens, which is like just over and you're like, oh my God. So yeah, it's kind of wild to be saying goodbye to it like this. I mean, now that it's still airing, so it doesn't really feel like it's over yet, but I'm sure that once the finale happens, we'll all have a little cry.
Yeah, I know. I'm not ready for it. But taking it back to the past a little bit and letting the audience know more about The Bold Type in case they haven't caught it yet. Guys, it's on Hulu. You need to catch up if you guys aren't watching it. But was Sutton always on the page? Because I feel like she's really struck the audience as such a fully realized character.
Thanks so much. Yeah, I think she definitely evolved for me over the course of the 5 seasons. I think that something that really ended up becoming a signature Sutton is just like her really fun sense of humor. That's something that I definitely feel like evolved, and we're really lucky because the people who write the show and the show kind of let us do whatever feels authentic to us. So we're able to kind of ad-lib, and we're able to come up with ideas and pitch them, and for the most part, people really respond to that. So we're really like kind of lucky for that, you know?
Yeah. And with Katie and Aisha, who play, filming the pilot with them, was it like an instant bonding experience? Or how did you guys sort of build your relationship together?
Yeah, it was really pretty immediate. I mean, all 3 of us met for the first time in New York City before we flew to Toronto to shoot the pilot. And it was like we had known each other for years. And that also is kind of like winning the lottery, I think, you know, because you just really know what you get. And it's strange to be like thrown into a thing with strangers. And so much of the show relies on the authenticity of that friendship. So we got really, really lucky that we just felt like sisters right from the beginning.
Yeah. And did it feel like too early on, because you mentioned you guys like to bounce ideas off each other as you guys are doing it, was that like sort of quick to be able to find their dynamic together?
Can't be done. Agreed.
But maybe.
No way. No, it's a no, right?
No, it's a maybe. What did Sage say exactly?
Just that she wants me to verify that it's physically possible before sending it up to Jacqueline. Oh, I think you're getting hazed, babe.
The fact that we had the space to do that from the beginning really informed how the show sort of evolved. And I think that that's the thing people respond to most about the show, is just how natural the friendship feels. And I think that that's in large part because it is authentic, and also because we got to infuse the characters with our very own senses of humor and friendship.
Good morning, ladies.
Hi.
Hello. Good morning.
Hi.
In thinking about building Sutton as a character, like what part was really developed? Because I think early on it was so clear that she was fun. She really had, she was the best at really going after her goals. I think it was just, at that point, she was kind of the only one in the assistant position. But I think a lot of people can relate to that as well, sort of being support staff.
I mean, I heard a lot of feedback about how realistic, as much as there's, you know, the show is sort of right? Like it's not really real life, but I think the fact that Sutton was an assistant for like 4 years is something that a lot of people are like, yeah, that tracks.
Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of loved that they kept her in that position in a way that felt really real, because when she does get her promotion and she does start to move up, the payoff is so good.
I know. But even then, I feel like, too, a big thing, a part of it that we appreciate, especially viewers on the show, is that she's good. She's the one who's really good at setting boundaries, too, and really being like the problem solver, even though now, as the show goes on, she develops her own real problems. But I think even in learning about her past, we kind of understand the coping mechanisms that she's able to share with her friends as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, her background is really different from Jane and Kat's, and she's scrappier, I think, just because of how she was raised and stuff like that. But one of the things that I love about season 5 that we hadn't seen yet that we're going to see, unless we did see it, because honestly, all the they're kind of a blur to me.
Yeah.
Did she go to therapy yet?
Well, they just, well,
I love.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like one ahead, so I was like, wait, can I say?
I think it's really cool to kind of show. That's something we haven't done on the show before, and we've done so many different things on the show. And so I was really excited when they told me that we were going to have Sutton go to therapy and actually watch her therapy session and see kind of how that goes. I think it's like so.
Yeah, because I think how they approach it on the show too is them really saying like, you've really been our therapy, but like you haven't really taken care of yourself the way you could. Because I think, how would you say Sutton is going into this season? Would you say like she's at her most vulnerable ever? Because we're used to seeing her pretty solid getting through like the problems she has to solve.
Yeah, I think at the end of season 4, she's definitely the most vulnerable that we've ever seen her. And then season 5, we kind of see her be really brave and decide to just pick the pieces up and move forward. And she's still in a lot of pain, but I think to see her actually processing that and doing all of the healthy things that she can, like going to therapy and, you know, stopping drinking for a while, it's all in an effort for her to be her healthiest, most authentic self. And so I think watching her sort of go deeper down that path in season 6. Wait, is it season 5? Yeah.
Season 5, yeah.
Is like so satisfying.
Trust you, Andrew.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
I wanted to know too, being how resonant Sutton's been with the audience, like do you get a lot of people coming up to you being like, I'm the Sutton of my friend group and stuff like that?
Yeah, of course I have, because I'm her, but I think Katie and Aisha experienced the same thing, which is like, so what's so wonderful about the show is that like so many people see themselves in these different characters for so many different reasons. And so I'm really proud of our show for being able to do that for so many people. I mean, we love, like, the thing that I've loved so much about the show is that when people come up to me to say that they're fans of the show, they usually have like a really specific reason why. Mm-hmm. You know, people say, I love the show because when that episode aired, you know, about racism, it made me pause the TV and have a really difficult conversation with my roommate that I probably never would have had we not been watching the show together. Or it was inspired me to have a conversation with my boss and ask for what I need that I haven't enough to do had I not watched Sutton do it. So that to me is like the incredible thing when you feel like you're actually like inspiring people to like go out into the world and get what they want.
Yeah. Would you say that you are a Sutton? I know you play her, but sometimes.
Yeah, no, I totally am. I think that she and I use humor in very similar ways, and we are vulnerable in very similar ways.
Like, one thing I love too about Sutton is her relationship with her boss, Oliver.
Can we start every day with a mimosa?
Would you say that on the show is like the best colleague or boss employee interaction? Because I think we talk about like I said, Sutton's the best with boundaries. Sometimes boundaries can be blurred on the show as far as like professionals go, and that's part of the fun of the show. But
I love the relationship between those two. And it is kind of like Oliver, I think, does serve as sort of a father. Have a dad in her life at all. And so they sort of naturally fall into that rhythm together. But I think it's really sweet because it's a unique mentor relationship in that Sutton is very often calling Oliver out on his shit and challenging him in certain ways. Like they're learning from each other all the time.
Yeah.
Unique, I think, relationship to see, because I think Jacqueline learns from the girls too, but she's more often than not the teacher, you know?
Yeah.
And kind of cool to see that a little bit more reciprocated on both ends with Oliver and Sutton.
Yeah. Because I think Jacqueline has a little bit of a distance being in charge of like everything, but we see Sutton and Oliver are really like side by side, like in the office together. But another fun part of the show, at least I'd say on my end, my little slice of like media Twitter, I guess, is sort of talking about the accuracy, like working at a magazine in real life compared to the show. Have you found, like, what has the reaction been from stylists? Do they like sort of see themselves in Sutton, or do you get a lot of, well, actually, like, this is what we do at magazine shoots, et cetera, et cetera?
You know, I haven't really had much interaction on that front.
Mm-hmm.
Really funny that my character is the because it's so not, I mean, it's like getting dressed is like never really that fun for me. Like I actually really struggle with like putting things together. But our costume designer on this most recent season, Mandy, is incredible, and she's like the most creative person in the world. She's like constantly like, I can't even tell you like how many fittings I had for my character where she would be just like cutting things off of the sleeve, or like she just takes scissors out, starts cutting stuff, and you're like, oh my God, what are you doing? But she's so brilliant in that way. And so it was really cool this season to see how she changed Sutton's style, because I think that stylists are actually usually like pretty chill in the way that they personally dress. You know, they're not. So that's a hard balance to strike when you're doing a TV show, because you want to wear like a lot of really cool clothes, and we did. And Mandy was so amazing, but she came in and was kind of like, it's blazers and it's jeans and it's like a t-shirt with cool jewelry for a stylist. And that was a little bit different than what we had seen Sutton in previously. So I thought that was awesome.
Yeah. Of course, we have to ask about Sutton and Richard. I do want to know, like, Sam's reputation, I feel like going into the show was like playing a bad guy. I heard that a lot from people, like, oh, I don't know how to feel about Richard because I was used to him on like Mad Men being awful. Did you have that like same reaction in working with him again? Like, oh, I'm used to this guy being the bad guy? Or was it like, let's jump right in?
I had seen Sam's work on Mad Men and I knew that he was an incredible actor, but my experience with him from day one of the pilot was, this is like the kindest, smartest, coolest scene partner and buddy that I could have possibly asked for. And he, through and through, I think the thing that was so unique about his character in the pilot especially was they set it up in a way where you're sort of expecting it to be that classic thing of like a younger woman hooking up with an older man in a power position and him kind of not treating her well and hiding her from people and all of that stuff. And you quickly come to realize that that's not the case. There's a lot of real affection between these two people and respect and admiration. And so, of course, they struggled with figuring out how to be in their relationship in front of people, but it was never really from his end of things. It was Sutton who was feeling really hesitant for obvious and legitimate reasons. But that was like a unique sort of spin on, I think, what has often been a little bit of like a cliche dynamic.
Yeah.
Or not, because it's a real thing that exists, but just sort of it's been done a lot, and I think the way that we told the story of that relationship was unique.
Yeah. Like, as the show specifically coming to end, like, what have been the hurdles specifically in having Sutton getting divorced kind of be her arc in a final season?
He wants a divorce.
And he sent you?
He couldn't do it, Sutton.
It was a ton for those two characters to go through, but our writers handled it, I think, the best way that they possibly could have. Um, and yeah, I mean, the last season being only 6 episodes, it's short. So they had a really hard job, especially because at the end of season 4, we lost 2 episodes to COVID because we were down. So they had even less time, I think, to tell the story that they were planning to. So they really had a tough job just picking it up from where we left off and trying to figure it out. And they did that in a way that I thought was really graceful and really honored all of the stories that we had been building upon for the last 5 seasons. So hats off to them, for real. That was not easy.
Yeah. Of course, you probably can't answer this, but I have to ask, like, can you say if Sam or even Billy will be guest starring again this season or coming back in some way? I know we had one proxy for Richard.
Well, yeah, I can say, the only thing I can say is that Sam comes back. I didn't think I was going to be able to say that.
Mm-hmm.
But then they put it in a trailer, and so I was like, okay, I guess I can talk about it. Yes.
I can tell you the audience is extremely happy to hear that.
I can't imagine the show without him, so I was really glad about that.
Yeah, because I feel like, is that something you wanted to see in this final season, really being able to sort of close that arc in some way? Like, did that feel central to sort of completion of her arc?
Yeah, for me, absolutely. I mean, I always sort of saw them as the end game couple. And also just on a personal level, like Sam and I worked together from the first episode all the way through. So just to kind of close that amazing, huge chapter of my life, it felt really, really exciting to be able to do that with everybody that we started it with.
Yeah. And then, of course, I have to ask, too, with this being the final season, what have been some of your favorite moments on the show? Or is there any kind of arc that you're really proud of?
Yeah, it's a question we get a lot, and it's always so hard to answer. But personally, I think my favorite episode that we ever did was in season 2, when we go back to Pennsylvania. The girls take a road trip to get Sutton's birth certificate, and you get to meet her mom, and it's sort of the first chance that you have to get a little backstory on where she came from. And it was also just really fun to shoot the road trip elements, for us to be in the car together on the rig and outside of the city where we had been shooting in different locations and stuff. Just the whole thing was just really fun. So I look back, and that's an episode that really sticks out to me as being one of my favorites.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let everyone keep asking questions. Let's see if this Q&A thing works. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Oh no, guys, you guys are a little brutal with some of these.
Oh.
I'll say, I mean, this isn't that fun, but it says, if you were at Sutton's place, would you give up on your love like she did? Guys.
No is the answer.
Yeah. More to see.
Not giving up. We'll see.
Oh, I like this, of course. What's next for you after the Bold Type?
I don't really know. I did a movie before we shot the final season that's going to be out in the spring, called Unbreakable Boy. We shot that in Oklahoma City. So I've got that happening. But as far as like right now, I'm honestly just kind of enjoying waking up in the morning and doing whatever I want to do. It sounds kind of silly, but just, when we were shooting the show, we were like in Montreal for 9 months out of the year. And so we were all sort of out of our own lives for a while and away from our families and friends. And so it's just kind of nice to have a minute to just chill.
Yeah. I think one thing I love about the show too is that it is one show where you get to see the characters really explore what they want, especially out of their professional life, and sort of figuring out what they want their work-life balance to be. I wanted to know, like, has the show changed your outlook on your own career, whether it be what you want to do next, the kind of environment you want to work in?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that that's the cool thing too, like being on the show, and I think I can speak for the whole cast when I say this. We are also not immune to like the sweet effects of like watching these people go and ask for what they want and get it. So I think I've been inspired by my character. I've been inspired by Katie and Aisha's character, and definitely by Melora's and Steven and everybody, and just the sense that like, oh, you really do have to be your own advocate, you know? And the worst thing that anybody can ever say to you is no. So why not ask? And that's
Hmm.
struggled with a ton, because I'm sort of historically a people pleaser, but I'm getting a lot better at that. And I think Sutton and I sort of embarked on that journey together over the past, almost 5 years. So,
Oh, I like this. Do you, Ruby Taylor Biddle asks, what's Sutton's astrology sign? Do you know?
oh my God, I have no idea.
Do you know what her birthday is? I might be able, I know some of the.
We were always so bummed. Like, we never had holidays on the show. Wanted like a Halloween episode or like a Christmas episode, and they just couldn't do it because they never knew we were going to be able to air, so they had to keep it kind of vague, I guess. But I wish that I knew that. I mean, I feel like if I had to guess, I'd say she's a Taurus because
Oh, you know what? That is a good guess. I love that.
yeah.
I can see that. Okay, let's see. Oh, okay. What do you most like about Kat, Jane, and Sutton's friendship? This is from Nicole Calazans.
I love how honest Kat is. I think she's super, not tough love, but like you can just always count on her to tell it like it is. And Jane is like very maternal and super supportive. And I think those are sort of their strengths as friends.
Hmm. I mean, so here's the other question that pops up sometimes. Do you think Kat and Sutton would be friends with Jane in real life?
Yeah, of course it would. Everybody needs, and here's why. Katie and Aisha and I obviously are very close in real life, and Katie is similar to Jane in that she's kind of type A, organized, always on time for things, always like looking very well put together. Aisha and I would be totally lost without Katie. Like we can't even
Hmm.
eat lunch without Katie, like helping. And there have been times where Katie was somewhere else, or like if she's shooting and me and Aisha are like hanging out, and we're calling her being like, what do we eat?
Hmm.
Can't make decisions. So she keeps it in line.
Yeah. I mean, in watching the show, like I understand what people say because I feel like Jane sometimes is sort of most on the island of like not knowing what to do. Especially now, like managing people, that's certainly the struggle she's having.
Yeah.
But I think they do a good job of like keeping each other in check.
Yeah, for sure.
Checks and balances, you know? All right, let's see. Oh, okay, this is fun. Beatrice, of course, Sutton's a stylist. What is your favorite Sutton outfit? And can you say hello to Brazil?
Hi, Brazil.
Saw some flags in there.
Yeah, I love it. I always say this, and it's kind of a joke because there was a season where I wore like this insane turtleneck that literally was like red, white, and blue stripes and like went all the way up to my chin.
Nice. Yeah.
And I loved it. Like like I'm not a fashion person. So when I go into fittings, I literally let them put whatever they want on me. Like Katie and Aisha are a little bit more like, I don't like this. Can we try this instead? And I'm just kind of like, dress me, I don't care. So, but that to me is like the most iconic Sutton outfit of all time.
Mm.
I wish that I could pull up a photo of it right now, but
I think I kind of remember it.
yeah.
And then I like this one. This is from the comments, Alex Sevko. What episode scene was the most hard to shoot?
Honestly, the miscarriage stuff in
Hmm.
season 4 was like the most challenging, and also the scene that Sam and I did where we have like the big argument and then he leaves. That was written as a 7-page scene. It was like a full act. There was like no commercial break in between it. So we shot that all at once and we blocked it like it was a play.
Hmm.
We went and like put, tape on the ground and figured out like what the best way to do it would be. And that was challenging too because it was super emotional and there was different to it and we shot it for like so many hours. You just get like exhausted. But it was really cool because it's very rare, especially for a show like The Bold Type, to do a 7-page long scene that's not cut up by something else. So it was really cool that our showrunner, Wendy Straker-Hauser, gave us the opportunity to do something that unique.
Yeah. Let's see from the Q&A, because I really do love those scenes. What about, okay, I like this. What about the musical episode? I will say I saw a musical element in an upcoming episode, but I don't know if you guys are doing any more big musical numbers kind of stuff. I know you guys have done like karaoke before too, right?
Yeah, we did. I mean, there are some musical elements, but unfortunately there is not a full musical episode. And we were just, Aisha pitched it as like, and it was such a great idea. And then honestly, like a different show on the network ended up sort of doing that. But Aisha was kind of, ooh, drugs, like we should microdose mushrooms or like trip on mushrooms. And then all of a sudden, like within the context of the tripping, we're like everything, which I thought was a great idea, but unfortunately, we were able to see.
Yeah. I will say that I think that's the episode that's airing this week. And it is quite a trip. I really did love it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I can ask too, was the couch in the fashion closet really that comfortable?
Yeah. The answer is yes. And every time we were shooting in there, it was like sort of, we would all try to call dibs on who got to sit on it because they want the scenes in there to be very active. So they don't really want you to be sitting. They want you to be moving around, like looking at stuff. But usually one person is allowed to sit.
Yeah.
And that's a coveted spot.
Yeah. I like this as we're sort of coming to a close. Who's the best couple in your opinion, other than Sutton and Richard? I saw quite a few. Like, did you have some favorite ships from the show?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I ship Kat and Adina. I also Pinstripe. That storyline
Interesting.
broke my damn heart.
Mm-hmm.
He did. I was like, how could you? Because Dan Janot, who plays Pinstripe, is like the best man ever, and we loved getting to work with him and having him on set. So we were just sad that he was like gonna have to go away for a little bit. But yeah, I mean, also like Jasper and Oliver was like so exciting.
Yeah.
We had more time to have had him on the show so that we could have seen a little bit more of that relationship. But yeah, I loved that. I was so happy that we were able to kind of work that in these last couple seasons.
Yeah. I think one quick question before I get to my final question is, did it feel like working at an office? Because I feel like this show, more than a lot of other shows, like you're really there where it has the open floor plan and you guys have the fashion closet. Like it did seem like you guys kind of had a home base for a lot of it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's the bullpen is like this huge set that really does feel like an office, and everything's real. The computers are real, the doors are real, everything's like it feels very officey. So it was really cool. I've never worked in an office. So but just for that environment, like energetically you automatically sort of settle into like a zone just based on the way that they built it, which is so great.
Yeah. And I think this is always like a difficult question to think of a response for, but it's a good note to end on is like, what are some things that you'll really miss about the show? The bold type. Should mention it one more time.
I think I'll really miss just the experience of showing up to set and feeling like I was in my living room. And the crew, we had most of the same crew for the whole time, which is really unique. And so it really, especially being away from home for as many months consecutively as we were, you really do kind of become a little family. So I think the thing that I'll miss most is just showing up to work and feeling like, you know, I was home.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, oh, it's coming back to me. This is the final season. I'm gonna miss it so much. But thank you, Meghann, so much for coming on and talking to me.
Sure.
Yeah. And by the way, thanks to the audience. You guys had some really great questions. Of course, if you guys want to catch Meghann as Sutton on The Bold Type, the final season is airing on Freeform right now on Wednesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And it's also available next day on Hulu. Once again, thanks so much, Meghann. I'm so excited to see how it ends.
So nice chatting with you.
Of course. Have a great rest of the day.
Hey, you too.
All right. Bye. And bye,
Bye.
guys.